All right, guys, we have to break this down. This is a crazy story and a topic that is being thrown around as we continue with this WNBA CBA nonsense. Now, if you guys remember yesterday, the WNBPA let it be known that they have received enough votes to issue a strike and stop this 2026 season from happening and start a work stoppage and, completely ruin all of the momentum that Caitlin Clark has brought to this league pretty much single-handedly. And then the WNBA owners sent a response to this.
We must engage in some demanding activities, she said that. The athlete who is single-handedly reshaping the WNBA's future, Caitlin Clark, just dropped a bombshell that tore apart the league's cohesion. Despite the fact that 98% of her peers voted in favor of authorizing a strike, Clark remained steadfast in her opposition, advocating for swift action on the court and compromise. Her position, which directly challenged the union's power play, set off a chain reaction that had everyone wondering if the biggest star in the league had just publicly disobeyed the collective. This was more than a simple disagreement. Everything she had built was in danger of collapsing due to the seismic divide.
All of the momentum that Caitlin Clark has brought to this league pretty much single-handedly. And then the WNBA owners sent a response to them, calling them liars, saying you guys are not being honest with the public about the state of these negotiations. They have been fair and legitimate quality offers that have been made in good faith. You guys are liars. Now, we know it was 98% of WNBA players that said yes, but there was some players who did not vote at all, and there were some players who said no. And we know Caitlin Clark stood on the opposite.
The WNBPA just announced a strike authorization, a significant step that would allow them to suspend the entire 2026 season. This was intended to be a demonstration of complete solidarity and a direct warning to ownership that players were prepared to go on strike if demands weren't fulfilled. However, a critical element surfaced in the midst of this resounding yes vote from 98% of participating gamers. A few participants chose not to participate, and precisely 3 courageous individuals said no. The question of these 3's identities became urgent right away. A whisper campaign regarding who would dare oppose such a united front began almost immediately.
Said yes, but there was some players who did not vote at all, and there were some players who said no. And we know Caitlin Clark stood on the opposite end of the table from these players with what she said in the Olympic workout at Team USA. So we have to get into all of this. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. Let's get right into things. So 98% of the players voted yes for a strike to give an authorization for the WNBA to start a strike. There was some players who did not vote at all.
One name, Caitlin Clark, soon became the focus of the rumors. Days before the ballot results were made public, she made remarks at the Team USA camp that seemed to perfectly fit the danding minority. Her public remarks directly contradicted the union's assertive stance, even if she had not disclosed her vote. Her impassioned appeal for compromise was immediately linked by many observers and insiders to one of the 3 silent no votes, an unusual act of defiance from a rookie who had already broken viewership records.
For a strike to give an authorization for the WNBA to start a strike. There was some players who did not vote at all, and there's 3 players that said no. And many people believe one of the 3 players that said no was Caitlin Clark, due to what Caitlin Clark said when she got interviewed at Team USA camp, where she said, yes, we need to fight for things we want, but ultimately, we need to compromise. We need to compromise, and we need to play basketball. That is what Caitlin...
Her precise words were unmistakably ingrained in the public consciousness. Yes, we must battle for the things we desire, but in the end, we must make concessions. We must play basketball and make concessions. This was a practical request for a solution rather than an appeal for total capitulation, highlighting both the financial necessity and the desire of the fans to continue the games. Reiterating that playing basketball is how we make money, Clark emphasized the necessity of the 2026 season. It served as a sobering reminder of the precarious momentum she had created for the league as a whole.
Ultimately, we need to compromise. We need to compromise and we need to play basketball. That is what Caitlin Clark said. We need to play in some damn games and we need the 2026 WNBA season to happen. That is what the fans want. That is what the people want. And that is how we make the money. We need to be playing basketball. Compromise and get it done. Kelsey Plum immediately said the exact opposite after. Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart at the podium when Unrivaled started. Said the exact opposite.
There could not have been a more striking contrast. WNBA players like Kelsey Plum, Nneka Owen, and Breanna Stewart immediately adopted a very different, more combative position in response to Clark's plea for compromise. They appeared to be on a totally different wavelength, demanding firmness and uncompromising demands rather than compromise. In particular, Meko Ogwumike made an effort to present a united face, implying that everyone was in agreement. However, Clark's earlier remarks exposed that story as a falsehood, exposing a severe ideological divide at the league's top.
Kelsey Plum immediately said the exact opposite after. Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart at the podium when Unrivaled started. Said the exact opposite after. And then Nafisa Collier tried to make it seem like they were all on the same page, and she lied because Caitlin Clark clearly is not on the same page as them. So many people believe that one of the three people that voted no against the WNBPA, giving them the power to authorize a strike, one of those people was Caitlin Clark. And I believe that those three people, their names will be revealed soon at some point. I truly believe that. And I want to know who the three players are.
The general consensus in pundit circles and on social media quickly crystallized. Unquestionably, one of the three players that voted against the strike authorization was Caitlin Clark. This wasn't merely conjecture. Her public remarks, which stood in such sharp contrast to the union's stated policy, led to a widely accepted conclusion. It has enormous implications. The most marketable athlete in the league had rejected a crucial show of force from her union, putting ongoing play and fan interaction ahead of a possible work stoppage.
It's Caitlin Clark, and I believe that those three people, their names will be revealed soon at some point. I truly believe that, and I want to know who the three players are. I believe that Caitlin Clark is one of the people that said no myself. All of the people out there that believe that you are not alone. I am here. Yeah, I believe Caitlin Clark said no as well. Now, we do have an update on this situation. Alexa Philippou posted an article today, and here it says, WNBA National Basketball Players Association, Nneka Ogwumike told...
With every hour that went by, the public's demand for the names of the three non-voters intensified. Many, including well-known speakers, expressed a great desire to find out who opposed the united front because they firmly believed that openness was crucial at this crucial juncture for the league's future. Given the seriousness of the decision and its possible effects on player relations and the collective bargaining process, it was anticipated that these names would eventually come to light, turning rumors into verified facts.
Negotiations are a bit in their infancy. According to a source, the WNBA's latest proposal includes an uncapped revenue sharing model that would raise maximum salaries above $1.3 million, up from $249,000 in 2025, and growing to nearly $2 million over the life of the deal. Average salaries above $530,000, up from $120,000 in 2025. And growing to more than $770,000 over the life of the deal, and minimum salaries to an excess of over a quarter.
Nneka Ogwumike, the union president, swiftly acted to defuse tensions after the strike authorization. She explained that the vote did not indicate an impending strike and presented it as a sign of our solidarity and a tactical tool for talks, stressing that players still desired to participate in the 2026 season. This attempt to control the narrative and lessen the damage seemed to be a direct reaction to the public's impression of an aggressive stance, possibly even inspired by players like Clark's obvious disrespect. The fact that the strike authorization is not an automatic trigger must be understood. It just gives the players' union's 7-member executive committee the authority to decide whether to start a strike if they think it's necessary. This subtlety was crucial because Wnba reaffirmed that, despite having this potent tool, their main objective was still to get a fair contract and prevent a work stoppage. It offered a negotiating chip as well as a delicate balance between authority and accountability. In the nearly 30-year existence of the WNBA, there has never once been a work stoppage, either due to a lockout by owners or a strike by players. This fact alone highlights the extreme strain and unparalleled character of the current discussions. With the stakes higher than ever, the league's players are negotiating unfamiliar territory. Even if it is presented as a last choice, the threat of a strike carries a lot of weight and has the potential to destroy the league's hard-won progress and momentum at its most crucial point. Originally scheduled to expire on October 31st, the current collective bargaining agreement was extended after a new agreement could not be reached. The deadline was moved to January 9th by a second extension. However, Wnba expressed dissatisfaction after these lengthy discussions, claiming that nothing had changed much. This lack of noticeable advancement, despite longer time periods and the impending threat of a strike, presented a troubling image that implied a large divide between the two sides. The union's assertion that there had been no significant change prompted serious concerns right away, especially in light of the WNBA owners' apparently large cash offers. The union's public pronouncements and the reported proposals seemed to be at odds, which might indicate a serious misunderstanding or a basic disagreement about what makes a fair settlement. The public was left to question whether the proposals were really what they had seen or if the union was downplaying progress to keep leverage. An unlimited revenue sharing scheme that would significantly raise player compensation was part of the WNBA's most recent proposal, according to sources. Maximum compensation would skyrocket from $29,000 to over $1.3 million. In 2025, possibly amounting to close to $2 million for the course of the agreement. The average salary would rise from $120,000 to almost $530,000, and minimum salary would rise from $66,000 to over $250,000 in the first year alone. These numbers indicate a financial commitment never seen before. Wnba rejected the league's suggested revenue-sharing plan as insufficient despite these ostensibly enormous increases. The unions demand that players receive roughly 30% of gross income, a percentage that the owners don't seem to want to reach. Even revolutionary pay rises won't be sufficient if the basic structure of financial distribution isn't changed to the players' satisfaction, according to the stark difference in revenue-sharing philosophy. Wnba highlighted the union's own efforts, saying that there has been some ingenuity and inventiveness on our end to try and get them closer to their side of the table. She swiftly clarified, though, that this collaborative mentality hasn't been extended to us, suggesting a one-sided endeavor. This remark disclosed a deep-seated dissatisfaction with the owner's alleged rigidity, indicating that the union believes its creative suggestions are not being met with the same openness. One of the main obstacles to discussions is the owner's unwillingness to give in to the union's demand for 30% of gross revenue. This percentage signifies a substantial change in the league's financial situation, and the owners have stated that it is probably not feasible. Ownership's strict position produces a dead end, compelling the union to balance the advantages of a strike authorization against the possibility of a protracted, detrimental work stoppage in the event that its fundamental demands are not satisfied. Wnba remained upbeat and expressed a want for more cooperative discussions despite the union's steadfast stance. She reaffirmed her dedication to working with the executive committee's leadership to secure a favorable agreement on behalf of the players. The union is attempting to strike a difficult balance, which is shown by this duality, a strong strike threat combined with calls for cooperation.